Mike Pachelli here. Thanks for tuning in. For this lesson, I'll be talking about the Beatles' recording of Not a Second Time that they did in September of 1963. The song was influenced by Smokey Robinson and the Miracles and written entirely by John Lennon early in September of 1963. And it is structurally odd because it has 7-bar verses and 10-bar refrains, which shows very early on John's kind of unique way of constructing a song. Now, this was the song that William Mann, the Times and London music critic, cited as having an Aeolian cadence. Now, what that means is, since the song is in the key of G, and the refrain ends on an E minor instead of the expected D7, that's called an Aeolian cadence. And about that, John has said, "I still don't know what it means at the end, but it made us acceptable to the intellectuals. It worked, and we were flattered. I wrote Not a Second Time, and really, it was just chords like any other chords. To me, I was writing a Smokey Robinson or something at the time. To this day, I don't have any idea what Aeolian cadences are. They sound like exotic birds." The song was recorded on September 11th in EMI Studio 2. John was showing the song to the lads for the very first time, and they recorded it on a 2-track tape recorder with all 4 playing live and John singing live. And in 3 hours, with take 5 being the best, it was completed. Now, they needed to do some overdubs, so they had to bounce from one 2-track machine to another. And while they were doing that bounce, John double-tracked his lead vocals. Then they needed to do another 2-track to 2-track bounce, and on that one is when George Martin added his piano parts. The song was mixed on September 30th, and due to all the bouncing from 2-track to 2-track, it's kind of one of the worst mixes you'll ever hear of a Beatles song. Harrison and McCartney's parts are basically buried in the mix, and instead we get to hear George Martin's piano muzak contributions quite prominently. They never performed it live on stage or on BBC Radio, and it was released in the UK on November 22nd on an album called With the Beatles, which was the day John F. Kennedy was assassinated, and on January 20th, 1964 in the US on an album called Meet the Beatles. So that's the backstory. Let's get started. John Lennon is playing his J160E on Not a Second Time. He's probably got it plugged in, but since I have all the separation in the world here, I recorded it on acoustic. So in order to play it, you'll need these chords. You'll need a G, an E minor, you'll need a D, and you're going to need an A minor. And those are the chords that'll get you through the verse. It's pretty straightforward down and up strumming on this one, except there's some syncopation occasionally on the E minor, where on E minors he plays like 1, 2, and 4. Like. Besides that, it's pretty much just quarter notes and eighth notes. So I guess I'll just play it for you. I'll play you verse 1 and 2, and there's simply strumming. It goes like this: 3, 4. I think the only thing of note really here is that the way John plays chords, and the way we all should play chords, is you don't necessarily have to strum all 6 strings all the time. John will play the low strings, then the upper strings, middle strings, and that's a good way to get some variance, out of your strumming. So when you play G, you play the low strings, then maybe the upper 4 strings, maybe the middle ones, and then all of them. Just vary. If you want to know exactly what he did, charts and tabs at MikePachelli.com. Now in the refrain, you'll need these chords: an A minor, a B minor, goes back to G, to E minor, A minor, Then he plays an A minor sixth. Back to B minor, D7, and an E minor again, which is that Aeolian cadence. Again, simple down-up strumming, except on the E minor, there's some anticipation. And he plays like this. Here's a refrain, 3, 4. You'll notice on that A minor sixth, he plays it pretty prominently on beat 1, and then he kind of underplays it and plays it softly, almost like he wasn't sure he should be using it. That's my uneducated guess. So on that A minor sixth, it's kind of like, if you want to be extremely precise. During the solo of George Martin's, simple chords, but he doesn't use the A minor sixth this time because it's the same chords as the first refrain. And on the solo, John plays this. Okay? Then we get to verse 3, more strumming, and there's no anticipation now on the E minor. It's just straight strumming. I don't think there's any more anticipation. Now it looks like it's all quarter notes and eighth notes. So verse 3 and 4 are like this, 3, 4. No big surprises there. And the second refrain, again, no anticipation, all straight, either quarter notes or eighth notes. Like this, 3, 4. And again, you could hear, when I'm changing chords, there's some, since you got a down-up thing going, you're going to have some open strings, and John does that quite a lot. It's kind of indiscriminately on this particular song. And then for the fade-out, just, again, straight quarter notes and eighth notes going through G and E minor, like this, 3, 4. Nice and easy. This is a perfect song for beginner to intermediate rhythm guitar players to learn. So again, charts and tabs at MikePachelli.com if you want to know it exactly, because I wrote out how he plays kind of low strings and high strings and blah, blah, blah. But that's what John played on Not a Second Time. Depending on what you read, George Harrison is either playing his Gretsch Country Gentleman or his J160E plugged in on Not a Second Time. From what I can decipher of the thinness of George's part, to me it sounds like the Gretsch, and whenever I get a chance to play this Gretsch Country classic, I'm going to do it. So I've got mine plugged into my 64 AC30. Now, in order to play the verses, you'll need these chords. A G, an E minor, you'll need a D, and you'll need an A minor. And those are the chords that'll get you through the verse. Now, George has a lot of little 16th note stabs in it. Like on the second verse on the E minor, he plays 1, 2E and a 3 and 4 very slowly. And And then on the second E minor, he plays like 1, 2, and a 3 and 4, which sounds like. Then when he gets to the D, he breaks up the rhythm even more, where he just plays 1 and a 3, 4. And he continues that sort of rhythm on verse 2. So I think I'll play you verse 1 and 2 very slowly so you could see the syncopation. It'd be like this: 3, 4. So very, very, very inventive playing against John's rhythm playing. So closer to time, it would be like this: 3, 4. Kind of very regal guitar playing, isn't it? So on the first refrain, he's going to change it a little again and kind of repeat this pattern. So the refrain chords are A minor, B minor, G, then this E minor, A minor again for 2 measures, to B minor, to D7, and E minor up here. Then again, I'll play you the refrain nice and slow so you can see all the syncopation, because it's like, for the most part, his rhythm is 1 and a 2 and, 1 and a 3 and 4. So very slowly, like on the A minor, he's going to B minor. And up to tempo, it'd be like this: refrain, 3, 4. Again, very authoritative. Is that a word? Now on George Martin's schmaltzy solo, you can't hear George Harrison's guitar at all. So you could just imagine that he was underplaying or playing straight chords. So when I played it on my sound-alike, I'm just going to play it like straight rhythm, through the chords. I'll play it. And it's your time to play exactly like you want on that solo. Okay, verse 2, more of that same syncopation. I'm sorry, it would be actually verse 3 if you count it like that. It's 1 and a 3, 4. So I'll just go through it again. Here's verse 3 and 4. 3, 4. And then on the second refrain, it's pretty much that same pattern. Sometimes there's eighth notes on beat 3, sometimes there's quarter notes on beat 3. So refrain 2 is like this. 3, 4. Okay? Again, charts and tabs at MikePachelli.com will make it clearer than I could play it or say it. And on the fade out, it's pretty much that same 1 and a 3 and 4 and 2. So, slowly, the basic rhythm is, right, to an E minor. Only thing is on measure 4, he plays 16 notes on beat 2. He goes 1, 2 E and a 3 and 4. So that ending, and it's pretty much just 6 or 7 measures is all you get to hear. Maybe 5 or 6 really. But it would be this, 3, 4. And so on and so forth for the fade. I have put it together in a sound alike so you can see how both guitar parts fit together. So please have a look at this.
You know you made me cry. I see no use in wondering why I've cried for you. And now you change your mind. I see no reason to change mine. My cry is through. Oh, you're giving me the same old line. I'm wondering why you hurt me then. You're back again. No, 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 not a second time. Use in wondering why I cried for you. Yeah. And now you change your mind. I see no reason to change mine. My cry is through. Oh, you're giving me the same old line. I'm wondering why. You hurt me then, you're back again. No, 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 not a second time. Not a second time. Not a second time. No, 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 not a second time.
Well, there you got to see and hear a mix of how the song could have been, and you gotta admit that John and George really knew how to play well together. I suggest you download the charts and tabs at MikePachelli.com, learn both parts, play along with my sound alike, and you'll get it just like the Beatles. And I really appreciate your consideration in supporting my work that way. So have fun playing this great old song, and until next time, I'm Mike Pachelli. Thanks for hanging out with me.